Today is the 7th May 2026. I am doing another practice of overcoming my hesitation and my fears involved with producing videos for YouTube. This is again specifically a practice about how I feel when talking about a specific topic, and the topic of today will be the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Currently I am a little bit sick. I have a small infection, so I'm not feeling so good at the days. I still feel like I want to continue these practices because they give me kind of an accomplishment. They are actually kind of nice to do, and as long as there are no emotional issues that I really have to fight with that pull me down with these practices, I'm trying to still do them. Currently I feel a little bit tense, a little bit of the symptoms of the infection. So, to the topic, Star Wars sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy are like the Star Wars trilogy made from Disney. How do I like the sequel trilogy? I did enjoy the sequel trilogy. They are... So what I really like about the Star Wars sequel trilogy is that they don't... at least for me, they were the first Star Wars content that went more into the gray areas, and so they went more into the gray areas. They haven't focused, or they have like tried to break up the black and white thinking that, I mean, it's just thematically very big in Star Wars. Star Wars is about the fight of like good and evil and the light and the dark. And I think that the sequel trilogy does a good job, or at least tries. What I like about it is that it's the first content that questions that a little bit. Like, are Jedis just that good and are Siths just that bad? I mean, mostly yes, but there's nuance to it, and to the Force, and to everything. There are gray zones. That's a big part, at least for me, of the messaging of the sequel trilogy. What I also really enjoy about the sequel trilogy are that they're actually showing us quite a few Force abilities. Like the original trilogy and the prequels had, I mean, in the scenes from the extended like novels and so on, there were quite a lot of Force abilities and Force powers in many scenes, but a lot of them are not like shown in the movies. Like what we're seeing in like Star Wars movies is like basically like you can telekinesis, you can like move things around, you can throw things, you can have Force push, you can like Force choke them, you can like jump higher, you have better reflexes. You have one single scene where you see that Jedi can run really fast, which is kind of ridiculous that they have done that in the first of Phantom Menace. We have one scene where Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan just run insanely fast, and you never see anyone running really fast again. And of course you have Force Lightning. And basically that's it. So you kind of just have forms of telekinesis. You have Force Lightning, you have jumping, you have a little bit of speed and reflexes. And that's kind of the Force powers that you see in pretty much all of Star Wars. And so I found it quite cool and interesting to have the sequel expand on showing us a little bit more of the Force powers. I really enjoyed the like Force connection and the bond between Rey and Kylo Ren or Ben. That's something that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed seeing Rey do Force healing, because that existed even in the Clone Wars times. Maybe not that good, but it existed and nothing of that was shown. And what else was? Well, you had the visions of touch, like the force ability. If you touch certain objectives, that you get kind of like memories or force visions from them, which is kind of a very common force ability. If you look at, especially if you look at games, I think they are used it quite heavily for like flashbacks and store and lore. That's I mean, not necessarily a common force ability, but it's very much a very established force ability. And out of my mind, I'm not sure if the sequels actually gave us more, but it was they showed us, I think, a little bit more variety of force abilities than previous trilogies. At least that was my impression, and I really liked them for that. The issues that I have with the sequels actually is that they tried to do the same. That's like my biggest critique. If I could have wished how would I would liked the sequels to be different, in my opinion. First, I wouldn't have wanted sequels. I would have just liked new Star Wars trilogy, like new story, new lore, maybe new timeline. Because for me, like the worst things of the sequels are actually all involved with like old characters. The worst things are actually like with Han Solo. They are actually with Leia. They are with Luke. They are with the Imperator. With the with Sidious. So for me, like the worst parts of the sequels, story-wise, and even how they like feel in the scenes for me are very much the old characters. Not to say that the old characters are an issue, but I just would like I would like to have the trilogy to be about giving us new story, giving us new characters, giving us something new that we can be excited about, and not mix it. Also, I think the sequels very much tried to like kind of remake the original trilogy just in like their story structure. Like the episode 7 is very much like New Hope from like the structure. Episode like 8, like the last, is it Last Jedi? Doesn't matter. The second one is very much like the also the second one in the original trilogy, even like with the hot scene and stuff like that. Like visually, they're trying to connect that, and in a way, even like lore-wise, there are quite similarities between like the original and the sequel trilogy. So they try to reuse old story arcs and like bigger plot points of like the Death Star and stuff like that, which I was very much not a fan of. I would have liked new stories. I would have liked new characters, which we got the new characters. But I just thought that most of the very bad stuff in the sequels came from just reusing and not making new things for a new trilogy. That's like my biggest complaint about them. I didn't like that they even like too so heavily used old characters. That was not something I was really a fan about. So for me, the bad parts are mostly the old characters. Not that I don't like the old characters, but like the way they're using them, and especially the story arcs, is not something that I'm a fan of. I would have liked new story, new. I also I would just really love a new timeline, like opening up a new timeline, going maybe to the Old Republic area or going more into the future and making something completely new. I don't know. I want more Star Wars. Give us something. Give us something new to be excited and have fun with, and tell a new good story with that, not the old ones again. But other than that, I actually do like the new characters in the movies a lot more than the old ones, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, those were my biggest points for the sequels. I do like that they are doing something with, well, not everything is light or like white and black. There are gray zones. I do like that they have tried to like show and add more forcible. I mean, not really add, but just use and show us that there are more and that they can use more and that there is more of the force abilities and there's more to the force. There are other sides to the force. Yeah, that's my talk for today. How am I feeling? I can very much feel still the same. I'm a little bit more down. I feel it. I'm also just talking a little bit different today. It's a little bit more difficult with like the infection currently going on. But I don't feel any like tension or discomfort currently from like the talk and the recording itself. So that's really good. Maybe I do feel a little bit less empty in my mind, but also still very much always on, I'm pausing a lot. Where I'm not even thinking, so it's not even that I've paused to think. I'm not sure what these pauses necessarily are. That's something I want to figure out. But alright, enough for today. Hopefully more tomorrow.